So I'm 40 years of age and I'm building wealth. Now, as you can see, I'm just working from home today, and I pretty much work from home every day, or most days, let's say. And this is really different because I used to look like this. I used to walk around in a monkey suit every single day. I was a corporate consultant. I was a trainer, a coach, business coach and the likes. And there was always these flashy suits. And I was always with leather shoes and fancy, ties and handkerchiefs and, pins and stuff to keep the tie in place. And guess what? I just love not having to do that. I can work from home. I can drop my son off and I can pick him up every day. And that is really a gift. Now, the thing is, there's different ways that you too can do to build your wealth. And I'd suggest you to do it sooner rather than later. I have waited for too long. I now finally have seen the light, and I now know that it's important to prioritize money. I'm going to share with you 20 different strategies that my wife and I are right now implementing so that we can get ahead in life, so that we can have more freedom, because we want to live life on our terms. That's pretty much it. So if this is something you want to learn about, well, stay tuned. Let's just jump into it. 20 different ways for you to build your wealth too. First one is managing our money. I've learned the hard way that money looks after itself if we don't look after money, and it starts operating us then, and then we get into the trap of having more month left at the end of the money than the other way around, and that is not a good place to be. So first things first is put structure into your money. We've pretty much set up about 11 different accounts with the same bank. And all of the income is getting into one bank account, and then it gets distributed across multiple accounts in a very methodical way. The methodical way is percentages. We've calculated how much our annual expenses are, how much that is broken down on month and week. We also know how much money we earn, and therefore we attribute portions of the earnings and allocate them towards different accounts. That is what we call money management. That is number one. Number two is we've learned also that managing our emotions is equally important. And what do I mean by that? Emotions is really what sometimes gets the better of us. Imagine yourself walking into a store and you see this thing that you didn't plan on buying, but it just looks so good and you absolutely want it. So even though you didn't have a budget allocated to it, you tend to buy it. You put it on a credit card, even worse. And then sometimes it bites you in the bum if you haven't got the money ready for it. So I've been there, I've done that, and I definitely have learned since. So managing our emotions is about really managing our emotions when we get really excited on one hand and know when to say, you know what, I'm not even going to the shops because I might get tempted. Or when we do get tempted, rationalize it over and see if it's consistent with your plan. So you obviously want a plan. Next thing then is also on the other side is that sometimes we get bills that were unforeseen and we don't have the money ready for it. And then the worst thing you can do is to start delving into your savings or taking away from potential money that you would invest in money-making assets, or take away from your own, the things that you wanted to do for yourself just to have a good time. All of this is not a good idea. So managing our emotions is for us to be able to say no to either the things that got us excited to spend more, and to also be able to say no to things that appear important and urgent right now, but then go to other ways to actually put some time into it so that you can earn the money without needing to delve into something else instead. Number three then is managing our time. I noticed that there's only so much time, as you might appreciate, in a day. That's the same for you as it is for me. And so some people have just learned to be smarter with the time they've got rather than trying to, cram too much in the same. Multitasking, I've tried it. I don't necessarily subscribe to it anymore because it just doesn't produce the outcomes. But you can just invest your time, your budget of time, into more meaningful activities that then allow you to build your wealth simultaneously. So that was number three. Number four then is selling unused items. We are right now, and have already been doing for a while, just getting rid of clutter. And the funny thing is that a lot of people are looking for the things that you perceive as being clutter or undesirable anymore. You know, secondhand stuff, people buy it, whether it's clothes, shoes, bags, bikes, toys, furniture, whatever it might be. There's always stuff that we have held on to that doesn't really serve us in any meaningful way. So just find ways to, pass it on to a new owner that is willing to trade dollars with you in exchange. Number 5 then is reducing expenses. I've already touched on it earlier. There's so much that you learn from just going through the things you bought. So if you got a credit card or you do transfers, going through that and seeing is this really making sense to do, and how much am I actually spending on this, or am I doing perhaps too much spending here, and can I possibly economize a little bit and take the reins back a little bit more. Any expenses that you are incurring right now, you first want to measure them, then see whether or not they're reasonable, and find ways to somehow cut some of those expenses away. And really important, every time when you save money by reducing your expenses, you put that money into an account that allows you to save to invest. The idea is the more money you put aside to put into money creating assets, the more your wealth is building and you're using compound interest along the way. Next one then is downsizing. We are about to sell, yes, 2 of our cars. We've got 3 at the moment. We're selling 2 of them. The idea is a car is really a liability. You buy it, and unless it's a really good car that is like a collector's item, cars go down in value. So they just keep costing you money. And sometimes it's smart just to somehow find ways to save money on cars. If you've got a house that has got too many rooms, you can't downsize. You can potentially rent your house, the big house that you're in now, off to somebody else who's willing to pay you enough money so that it becomes a passive income generating asset, whilst you yourself go into something smaller. Next one then, number 7, is saving to invest in income producing assets. Real estate is a great way to do it. So are potentially stocks if you know what you're doing. You could also have a money-making website. You could also have a business, a self-managed or almost an automated business that allows you to do that. The idea is the more of those things you have in place, the more you are building your wealth. 8 is paying ourselves first. Pay yourselves first is a great principle that I've learned the hard way as well. How often have you had, let's say, somebody that wanted money from you because you were late in repayments, right? And then you just start to hurry up and you get a bit stressed out. And again, the emotions start getting the better of you. At that time, it's good to hold your horses, stick to the plan, and just go and find other ways to drag the payment, to negotiate something else, which I'm going to touch on in a moment. The idea is pay yourself first. You pay yourself first in terms of something that you want to do for you every week. Women like going for a pedicure, manicure, they might want to go to the hairdresser, whatever it is. Things that you want to do for yourself. You might buy something, nice clothes or shoes or whatever. You want to pay yourself a portion of the money you earn every week and every month, and do something with it just for your sake. Equally, pay yourself first means that you're actually giving yourself the opportunity and the blessing to save money up that you can then reinvest in something that will make you money down the track. That is all paying yourself first. You don't want to touch on that. All of the other stuff doesn't encroach on that. Those are set, cast in stone budgets that you use for the right reasons. Next one then, number 9, is negotiating better deals. Whether it's the interest rate for your mortgage, or it is a better deal on your car, or better insurance policies that cost you less money, or it's better life insurance, or whatever it might be. A better deal for your electricity, for your water bill. All of these things, they are all negotiable. You can just go back to whoever is servicing you now and say, look, somebody else there is doing it for this rate. I'm not necessarily we want to go there, but what if you can give me the same rate? What about it? Negotiate. Life is negotiable. Everything is negotiable. So you make use of it every single time, because every single time when you again save money on it, you can then take the savings of that and put it into your immortality account, I call it. an account that is set up for you to become immortal, for you to become financially free, for you to live in abundance. And the more that goes into it, especially if it's a high interest sort of account, the more that starts accruing dividends and interest for you to accrue, where you by using, again, compound interest in your favor. Next one then is negotiating payment due by dates as you see fit. So if you haven't got enough money to pay a few bills or certain other things that are not necessary really, know that you can negotiate better terms. You can negotiate longer times for you to pay by, and therefore make use of those too. Next one then is creating clear financial goals. What is it really that your net worth is going to look like? It's a very easy equation, but if you look for ways to save up enough money in assets, now whether that is in real estate or stocks or bonds or all valuables, gold and silver and any of those, you want to have clear financial goals around it. And so what is your net worth goal? By when? Typically what you want to do is you want to save up at least 25 times the annual expenses on average. So if right now your annual expenses are 40,000 times 25, you end up being whatever, I think it's about 1 million. You should then save up $1 million net worth, which means net worth is your assets minus the liabilities, and then the net worth is what's left. Having a number for net worth that you want to achieve by a certain time frame. Equally, if you for example have $100,000 worth of annual living expenses times 25 is $2.5 million. Those are your goals, those are your destinations. The question now is, what is your net worth today? So what's the gap between where you are today and where you want to get to? That is part of your plan. Then you figure out ways to get as fast as you can from here to the place that you want to be there. Next one then is setting up success structures and routines. I'll give you an example. In terms of money management, I pretty much check money every day, week. I have certain time frames set aside a month where I do certain things where I track where we are going. I have quarterly meetings with my wife as well, where we sit down and we go through all the numbers together and look at other initiatives that we can do to save money and make more money. And all of this sort of stuff is part of our set routines. There's also something that we recently introduced after reading a book called The Barefoot Investor, where we actually want to teach our 5-year-old how to manage money. We got 3 jars over there ready for him to put money into, and we have a weekly money meeting whereby we use a meal as a money revision principle. So every week he can do jobs, he can make money with them. That money was then distributed over 3 different jam jars, and that way he not only sees how things grow, and he also has got budget set aside to do certain things, whether it's being a philanthropist and helping other people, doing something for himself in the here and now that he enjoys doing, and spoil himself a little bit, or saving up for something down the track that he really values having, doing, or experiencing. And so these are just a few ways whereby you set up success structures and routines for yourself and your family so that you can really build wealth together. 13 is tracking your net worth. I've already touched on this one for a moment, but tracking your net worth is pivotal. Do it. The sooner you do, the easier you really get the reality check and see whether or not you're tracking well. The good news is that since we've actually started doing this, in only a few years' time, if there's 10 different steps to go through to actually become financially free, then we actually notice that we're right now going from 5 to level 6. So that is really rewarding now to see that things actually have improved a lot since we actually started our journey a few years back. Number 14 then is finding ways to automate and streamline income. Imagine now that you're a salaried employee. You are pretty much trading money for time. You spend in time and you give that to your employer, and the employer gives you a fixed amount of money, potentially even some commissions or bonuses depending on the sort of package you've got. But you pretty much are trading time for money. You're making money actively, and then that's your main source of income. Now that is what I called active income. There's only so much time you can trade for money, and even though you might have a second job or a side hustle, again, you would trade time for money. And there's only so much time you can trade. It's capped, it's limited, there's a ceiling to it, right? So the other ways to do it is to either increase the amount of money you make with that time, or you find better ways to make more money independently of the time you've got. You can create passive forms of income. Whether you invest in real estate that not only appreciates in value and gives you capital gains over time, hopefully, you also make sure that the real estate you have is creating more money than what it costs you to hold. That way, you actually get a dividend on a monthly or weekly or fortnightly dividend on your investment in real estate, which then also funds your lifestyle and your saving plan, your wealth creation plan. And that is interesting. You might have an automated business or website that allows you to accrue money while you're asleep. So whether you're in e-commerce or you are a coach, a consultant, a trainer and the likes, or a knowledge worker or an author, and you create products that people can buy from you while you're asleep, those are all ways for you to increase your wealth and do it in an automated fashion rather than trading time for money. So I pretty much touched now also on number 15, which is creating different sources of income, both active as well as passive. And that's really important. Number 16 then is reducing bad debt through planning. Bad debt. Most people allow bad debt to get out of hand and they don't really know exactly where they're at. And so if you haven't got visibility of it, it's very hard for you to do something meaningful about it and get rid of it altogether. So the first thing is confront the hard facts the way they are, and then figure out a way to somehow reduce those debts and clear them altogether. Having a strategy in place to first visualize what they look like and then figuring out a way on how to clear it while you're saving up at the same time, that is really number 16. That is vital to get ahead. Number 17 is investing time wisely. I remember the days when I worked for a boss, and back, that is now 15 years ago nearly, and I made it was 25,000 euros. So let's just say $40,000 I made back in the days in sales. And then of course a few bonuses and commissions on top. But that was pretty much the cap I had. There was not really a lot that I could add. Go back here now in terms of my own business, I've found ways to almost 10x that amount. So by investing the same amount of time in a different way, I found ways to make more money along the way. And so you can do the same. Invest time wisely. Know that time is your most precious resource. As you are more creative at deploying the money or the time you have, the time budget you've got, you will see that your wealth will grow with you too. Number 18 is leveraging other people's money, notably banks. Now, whether it's a low interest loan or interest-free credit cards that allow you to invest in things that will make you money, not just to buy stuff that is lifestyle oriented. You want to make sure that you invest smartly. And if you take money that you haven't got yet so you're taking on bad debt, ensure that the bad debt is actually going to help you get somewhere. And then of course, stick to the plan by when you want to pay it back so that you don't have any interest to pay for. I call these one-off sort of clearance principles. If right now you've got bad debt, it's a great way to use either interest-free credit cards temporarily so that you can get yourself out of the shit, so to speak, and balance transfers for the same reason. Balance transfers means that you negotiate to take on bad debt from a credit card where you are already paying interest on and transfer it across to another institution or credit card that allows you to, at least for a time, have a bit of a breather so that you can get your what together, line up all the eggs in the right order, and have a plan and structure in place that allows you to clear the debt by the due date, and also at the same time save up so that you're building your wealth and investing in things that will make you money, like stocks, bonds, and real estate and the likes. Marketing that pays semi-automatic dividends. Now, I'm not sure if you've heard of the world of either affiliate marketing or, for example, sales and marketing funnels. Those two, for example, are prime examples on whereby you are literally using marketing, for example, other people's networks, goodwill, and relationships that they build up over time to make money with your type of business, with your products and services. You can do that. That's called affiliate marketing business. You can also have sales funnels set up whereby the sales process that otherwise would have taken salespeople, business development managers, yourself, to really talk to potential buyers, you can streamline that process and use technology to have a lot of that already done for you and already start transacting online before they even get to talk to you. All of this is called marketing and sales funnels, and I really love that because it already has made good money for me while I was asleep. Last but not least, educating ourselves. You need to really keep growing. So as you invest time and money into your own personal development, your personal wealth also grows too. Because there's certain skills and knowledge that right now you haven't got really fully mastered, you haven't got access to, or it's at a very poor level. And if it's at a poor level, guess what? The bank account will reflect a poor number. And so for you to really beef it all up, it's worth investing in you. As you grow, as you get better, as you become more knowledgeable, as you become more skillful, you'll find that, as I've seen, that your net worth will grow with time as well. And typically faster than you would do if you wouldn't do the training and education. I hope this was of value. There's multiple links below this video that might be helpful as well if you want to do something further. Also, if you like this, comment on this, share this, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. My name is Bram. I look forward to seeing you again in the next one, and have a great day and good luck.